The Snake and the Frog's Pond. The sun beat down mercilessly on the quiet, still pond, its waters shimmering with heat. The sound of chirping insects filled the air, the rhythmic hum punctuated only by the occasional croak of a frog. But the frogs, blissfully unaware of the impending danger, basked in their peace. Little did they know, the tranquility of the pond was about to be shattered by an intruder, an unexpected claimant to this peaceful territory. A snake, long and lean, slithered through the reeds, its golden eyes glinting with a sense of superiority. It was no ordinary snake, no simple creature. It was a hunter, a master of survival, and it had its sights set on the pond. "This shall be my home," it hissed to itself, tasting the air with its flickering tongue. The snake, clever and calculating, had watched from the shadows for weeks, seeing the thriving ecosystem of insects, frogs, and plants that thrived around the pond. It was a paradise for a predator like it. With a calculated slither, the snake made its move, winding its way to the center of the pond. The frogs watched in fear, their sharp senses alert to the new danger. The snake, with its cold, calculated gaze, claimed the pond as its own. "No longer will you be safe," it declared, "for I am the ruler of this domain now." The frogs, once carefree and content in their swamps, felt a growing unease. Their peaceful home was being overtaken by a new and dangerous presence. The insects that once buzzed lazily above the water now darted nervously, sensing the predator lurking in their midst. The snake knew its power. It had already begun to feast on the insects that danced on the surface of the pond, striking with lightning speed, its tongue flicking out to catch them in midair. But as the days passed, something unexpected happened. The very insects the snake depended on began to dwindle. It was subtle at first, a slight decrease in their numbers, but soon the snake realized that its meal supply was rapidly vanishing. The frogs, disturbed by the snake's presence, had begun to make their way to other ponds, leaving the snake without its usual food source. The insects, too, grew wary of the predator, scattering away, never staying in one place for too long. Frustration began to set in for the snake. It slithered restlessly around the pond, its belly empty, its patience wearing thin. The frogs had abandoned their homes, and with them, the insects had fled. The very ecosystem the snake had claimed was crumbling before its eyes. It had taken what it thought it desired most, but now it was left hungry and alone. Desperate, the snake coiled itself in the shadows, waiting for the return of the insects. But none came. The frogs had moved on, and with them, the balance of the pond had tipped in a way the snake had not foreseen. The snake, once proud and powerful, now lay coiled in the mud, realizing the hard truth. It had gained dominion over the pond, but in doing so, it had destroyed the very foundation that had kept it alive. The snake's hissing breath grew weaker, its hunger gnawing at it as it watched the empty pond. It had claimed the territory, but in the end, it had only brought ruin to itself. And so the pond remained empty and silent, a place where nature once thrived. The snake, having learned the bitter lesson of greed, slithered away, its hunger still unmet. The frogs would return, and the insects would return with them, but the snake would never again be welcome. So remember, sometimes in our pursuit of power, we forget that the very things we seek to control are the ones that sustain us. Greed can take much, but it can also leave us with nothing. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.